where we reveal our personal humanity to reconnect with our shared humanity. Let's begin our conversation with Tracy Tawiah, active duty Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Army, and member of AKA Sorority Inc. Did I get that right? I'm always I want to be careful because
Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
beautiful, beautiful. Because I know that's a very important sorority, and I don't want to have the alphas coming after me. So, okay, I am so excited to have you here, and to be very transparent, Tracy is a former client, and I had the pleasure and privilege of working with her. So, can you share a pivotal moment with us in your career that significantly shaped your leadership style?
So it would take me back to actually when I was a lieutenant and I was stationed in Hanau, Germany with a Patriot unit. I was 5.7 Air Defense Artillery Battalion. And I just remember my battery commander at the time had so much energy, just positive energy. And I remember enjoying being part of that unit, really felt like a team, like a family. It reminded me of the camaraderie I had at West Point. So that just reminded me, be myself, show up as myself, and try and keep positive no matter what's going on. I mean, we were in the field probably, 2 weeks out of every month, but he still stayed motivated. So I appreciated his leadership style.
I was just saying you definitely have those qualities. Like you live and breathe that. And I was able to bear witness to that as we worked together, and your positivity and optimism really serve you. Have you so when you learned that from that leader of yours, how can you draw a parallel to how you use that positivity in your work?
Yeah. So in my work, I started out in the military as a air defense artillery officer. And then from there, I shifted to become a signal officer. And as a signal officer, you work in communications. It's similar to like tech support, if you're setting up cable, phones, internet, that kind of thing. And anytime we had an issue, people would come to us, and I always sought ways to resolve the issue instead of, saying, no, we can't do anything about it. So I always wanted to make sure we could solve an issue instead of just passing it off to someone else.
Yeah. And okay, so let's pivot into your personal life if that's okay. You have a incredible young son, so let's give a shout out to him.
Yes. And we just had a wonderful Mother's Day this past Sunday. And then last week we were in Huntsville, Alabama, enjoying family space camp. So we had an absolute amazing time there.
Okay, and let's give a shout out to your son. What's his name?
His name is Alex.
He's I mean, he's such a good kid. I've had the opportunity to meet him, and I'm just wondering how you've used that positivity with Alex as a mom.
In my experience, I think children, they kind of emulate what they see around them, and then they can feel your energy. So if you're upset about something, they can sense that. And so, there will be times where he's like, well, are you okay? What's going on? And um, a lot of this came to pass when my dad passed a year ago. He would always check in on me, see how I was doing. And, those times I explain, mommy's a little sad right now. But most of the time it's, upbeat, having fun, riding bikes, going on adventures. We love traveling, especially like sitting in the window seat. So I give that up, even though I like sitting there too.
So tell us about Family Space Camp. Who picked that? Did Alex pick that or did you?
So he picked it. I know I was working with you at the time last year when we had to delay because we were supposed to go for spring break in 23. And the camp was so gracious to save our spots so we could go this year. And so we did go over May the 4th weekend because, we're big
May the
Star
force
Wars
be with you
fans.
for those of you that don't know.
Yeah. So he loves everything that's science, technology, engineering related. Um, and it was just a great space to be in and see what the astronauts do. And it was a very well run camp. So will probably go back again.
That's awesome. I didn't even know that existed. I mean, in Huntsville, Alabama, is so surprisingly tech forward, right? I mean, I met somebody at the National Security Seminar who works at the Chamber of Commerce in Huntsville, and I was so surprised when he said it's like the Silicon Valley of the South. I was like, "Wait, what?" So did you notice that about Huntsville?
Yes, I've been there a few other times for some military travel, and it is exactly like that. Just so much technology and innovation.
Who's headquartered there?
Oh, Army Material Command is in that area.
Yeah, and I think is Google down there too in addition to, NASA, or am I, like, making that up
Oh,
and
NASA
conflating?
has space there. I'm not sure if Google is there, but I'm sure there are a lot of huge companies in that area. I know
Yeah,
IBM has a satellite office over there as well.
yeah, that would make sense. So, going back to your leadership philosophy, how would you describe it, and how has it evolved over time?
For me, it's treat others as you wish to be treated and, always do your best. I mean, if we have a mission and, you prioritize what's important over, you want to prioritize what's important at the time, so based on that, that's how I would lead those who are, under my tutelage or under my command at the time.
Yeah, and from what I remember, you mentor a lot. That's a passion of yours, correct?
It is. Nothing that's truly formal. It just one offs. You meet people and you love their energy and you want to see them do well. And there are certain things that you want to pass on to them as advice and continue to watch them grow, in their career, which reminds me of another one of my commanders I had, Eric Schwartz. He's retired now. He's the one that flew up from Florida and pinned me lieutenant colonel. And I just appreciated his leadership style as well. Very calm demeanor, very understanding, but also mission focused and also people focused as well. Like he really took care of our battalion at the time. This was when I was stationed in Kansas.
So, for those of you us that don't know, and I'll set it up. A pinning ceremony is when you get promoted to the next rank, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
that's
and
correct.
typically, you all pick somebody that inspires you to come and literally pin you that signifies you've gotten to the next level, correct? Is that right?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
So, describe what it was like, because it's really a sacred ceremony, and anytime I mean, I've been invited many, many times from, Germany to Italy to DC, and the only one I've ever been able to make it to is my husband, but it's so moving, that anybody that gets to go or is invited to go, for me, it's a goosebump moment. Not only that I get to bear witness to that, but that I get to witness somebody like you moving to the literally moving to the next level. So, when we're in that pinning ceremony, what was going through your mind?
I was excited to move up to lieutenant colonel, and having an old boss come down and promote me was truly special for me in that moment. And having my family there, my son, my mom, siblings, um, extended family, and really some close friends also came to bear witness. And I had, well, now retired Colonel Eric Schwartz. He flew up from Florida to participate in the ceremony. And he's one of the leaders that I truly admire, during my career. I was stationed with him when I was in Kansas. He was our battalion commander at the time for 299th Brigade Support Battalion. And I remember when he came to the unit, I was a signal officer at the time, and I was pregnant with Alex. And despite being pregnant, he saw that I had good potential and allowed me to serve some time as his battalion executive officer. And I truly appreciated being in that assignment and supporting the unit in that way.
I mean, that's amazing. And are you still in touch with Eric Schwartz?
Yes, we are.
Great. All right. Can you describe the most challenging situation you've been in? Leadership situation or a regular situation, whatever you're moved to bring up, and how did you navigate it?
Yes. So one of the most challenging situations you can face as any leader is, when you lose a soldier, or a soldier loses, a close family member. And we had that unfortunate challenge when I was in company command, stationed at then Fort Hood. Now it's Fort Cavazos. And one of my soldiers lost a child, and that was devastating to the entire unit.
Starting in February 2020, I had the privilege of starting to work with the military, from junior officers all the way up to five-star generals. And it was great. So that contract just recently ended, but navigating life and death is something that I don't think the average American understands how difficult that is and what a commonplace activity it is for all of you, and how often you have to push through the grief to get the job done. So how do you navigate that grief personally?
Oh, well, personally, I I seek, therapeutic support, talking through what's going on. I find that to be very helpful. I'm appreciative that the military does have, resources available to us that you can contact at any time to get through, any challenges. And then I also have some really close best friends that I talk to when I'm going through anything. Or if they see me, "Hey, you don't seem yourself. What's going on?" We can talk through things.
Yeah, and I think both of us, if it's fair to say, have spirituality in common, and for me, I have the belief that death is just a change of address. Now, you can't say that to somebody who's just lost a child, but if you can get to that point, it's infinite. That essence of theirs is always there if you want it to be. You have to be an active participant in that. But for you, in your perspective, what are key indicators of successful leadership?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
So, um, I haven't thought about that one. I guess a key indicator would be how well the person is doing emotionally. Is the person happy with life and the network that surrounds them? Are they generally successful as well?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's really, for me, it's in the behavior. Like, right now I'm working with an organization that does not have trust in place. And my business partner and I on that, she's also a veteran, but she also has an engineering background. So I'm like, let's put trust in the three things we're going to strive for. And she's like, that's too nebulous. How do you measure that? Right. And it's really a demonstration. You see it in behavior, you see it in the emotional intelligence. Can they emotionally regulate themselves? Do they know how to manage their energy? Do they know what contributes to their energy and what detracts from it. And when they figure out what detracts from it, how do you minimize that? So yeah, that's really a great indicator how they're doing emotionally and how they're behaving. So in terms of your decision making process, can you walk us through how you make decisions, especially under pressure?
Okay. So for me, it depends on what the decision is and what the impacts are. So if it's something as simple as, hey, what are we going to eat? It's, just, oh, I mean, got whatever's quick, or, something that we have at home that we can just prepare right away. But if it's something more long term for my career, I really will sit and pray about it. I'll ask my close friends and family to also pray with me that I make the right decision, that I make the right choice, that I'm aligning with what I believe that God's purpose for me is.
Yeah. And you're so clear and so connected. It's I mean, for me, it was one of the many things that was inspirational about working with you. So, in terms of team dynamics and, maybe we talk about the AKAs for a second if I'm allowed to. I don't know. Again, I did not have the Greek system in my college because Holy Cross at the time had 2,400 students. So our Greek system was really the sports teams, but I don't, I mean, I know from friends and colleagues and clients just a very little bit about the process. But in terms of the sorority, how do you foster team dynamics or, wherever else it shows up if that's not, if that is not an analogy that resonates?
Okay. I can explain it using the sorority. So one of the reasons that I was drawn to Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is because of some of the women I've met throughout my life who were members, and I liked their leadership style, their spirit. I liked how involved they were in the communities, and I liked how um, they wanted to make things better for women and girls from now into the future. So to be part of an organization, that started in 1908 that is still prevalent today is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, that sorority has impacted the highest levels of leadership too.
Well,
So,
yes.
y'all are doing something right. I mean, to me, it's inspiring. It's amazing to behold, and there's a little bit of a jealousy is not the right answer, but a longing to be part of that sisterhood, and it's talk about demonstration of leadership. There's something about y'all where it's like, does that
Yeah.
make sense? I
Yes.
don't know if
And
I'm explaining it well, but as an outsider, that's what I see, and I'm like, "Oh, I wish I could be part of that." Um, so in terms of conflict resolution, how do you approach that within either your organization or as a mom or as an AKA? Like, how do you navigate conflict resolution?
me personally, when I just in general, let's say I'm having a conflict with a sibling, I make sure things that we both calm down and discuss the situation so that we're both heard. Um, and I find that that's a good way to resolve a conflict.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me when leaders have conflict, and I've had leaders that are like, "Well, so I talked to so and so and this is how I made the decision." I was like, "Well, what about the other side? Have you have you talked to that person?" "Well, no." Well, how can you resolve a conflict if you don't get all parties involved? So, I love the part about being heard, and what I know about Tracy is she makes sure her people are seen, heard, and appreciated. Anybody that works with her knows that. That's just who she is. It's built into her DNA, and that's what makes you such a great leader. And I wanted anybody from age 6 to age 66 to listen to this and be inspired by you. And I know I am. So that's why you're here. Um, let's talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, however, whatever realm you want to talk about it. But why do you feel like diversity, equity, inclusion, and I'm going to add belonging, is important in leadership? And how do you implement these in your leadership practice?
And so I think it's important in leadership because you want diverse thought, you know, diverse solutions. I mean, different people bringing their ideas to the table will get us to the best solutions.
Yeah, and I think what COVID did was truly made us a global economy, and normalized video chat, and there are cultural competencies that I'll put it on, us as Americans, that we assume that other countries need to adapt to us versus us understanding, hearing, seeing, and belonging and appreciating other cultures and the role they play in the global economy. Is that fair to say? Or
I think it's fair to say, you know, I'm an avid traveler and, going to visit other countries. Of course, I appreciate, being in the United States, but at the same time, I can appreciate those cultures as well and how they do things. And I think once you reach out globally, you'll get ideas of things that you may not have thought of.
yeah, so two questions about your average traveling. So one is, how do you practice being a good guest when you're traveling in another country?
Yep. For me, it's just looking at some of the customs and courtesies and dabbling at some of the language. May not have the best accent, but I will at least give the language a try initially.
Yeah, when I was living in Italy, I lived in Italy for 3 months when I was 19, and I was there to learn Italian. And the funniest thing was when I would like ask for the bus in Italian, they would answer me in English. And I was like, no, no, I really want to learn the language. But then I thought back and I was like, God, I must have been so terrible with my accent. And if they were answering me in English, it must have been just awful. Okay, second question on travel. Favorite place, favorite experience.
Oh, okay. So favorite place is low bias because my family's from Ghana, and it was just an absolutely amazing experience to go there and, you know, see where my family came from. So that would be favorite place.
Yeah, and I think we talked about Jolliffe there, right? Like everybody in Africa has a different one. Okay, so you have to describe what that is and what's the significance that makes each culture within Africa so proud of their Jolliffe, right? Like I
Well,
pronounced it
yes.
correct. Okay. I'm like,
So
I'm so nervous, like I'm gonna mess up all of these things.
no,
So
fine.
thank you for
Uh,
being so graceful and gracious.
Jollof is typical West African dish that you find. And it's made with rice and a stew that you mix in. And then a lot of people do vegetables, and then you can add a meat to it. And it's tomato based is the version that I prefer that they make in Ghana.
Yeah. I have a good friend, Ernest Owens, who went to Ghana, and he said the same thing, that Ghana has the best jollof, and like all these people came out on Twitter and just like, I didn't realize, but I feel like it's the same thing that Italians are. Northern Italy has different than Southern Italy than Western. It's everybody has some kind of dish that they're proud of, and that for me is how I try to connect to a culture because it's so important and there's such a history of it. And African cuisine impacts American cuisine. Like, if anybody's ever watched High on the Hog, what I didn't know was that rice was not indigenous to America. Actually, people from Africa brought it over to us. And for a long time, it was a huge crop going out of South Carolina, out of Charleston. So, it's food really does reach across everything, I believe. So, okay, best dish you've had traveling. What's your favorite dish?
I mean, I like jollof. I'll say paella is like a close second because it's similar, but spices are different, and there's the seafood in there. So
Yeah, it's so, so, so good. So, okay, how do you encourage and manage feedback as a leader? And let's talk about, like, we don't have to get into details, but I think all of us know that the military culture is very hierarchical, right? So how do you make sure that you're getting good feedback from every level, no matter what rank they are?
yeah, so something we have in place is a platform where you can send out uh, a survey to folks you work with, folks who are subordinate or in the leadership position, and they can fill out the survey anonymously. So you get some candid feedback on how they believe you're doing and what they think you can improve upon. But aside from the survey, I've worked with leaders who are very open to giving me feedback on my performance and the potential they think I have, ways to improve or things that, this is going very well. Don't change this. And so I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah, I think for me, the greatest leaders that I've known or emulate want honest feedback, positive and negative. And when I'm working with people who are like, "Oh, I got this terrible feedback." And I was like, "Why is it terrible? Is it terrible because you labeled it terrible, or is it just information that they're sharing as an opportunity for improvement?" Um, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I see it as this is this person's assessment of you at this moment in time. This is what they're seeing through their lens, So it's valuable information that's being shared with you. I appreciate when someone does tell me because you know you're not entitled to anyone else's opinion, but if they're willing to share feedback with you, that's a gift.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions. What is your favorite comfort food?
But well, jollof fries.
I mean, yeah, duh. We went all over that. So, okay, I know it's tomato based. I most know it's mostly vegetables. Do you have a favorite protein that you like? Chicken, goat, beef?
I prefer corned beef in it. Yeah.
Oh, oh my gosh, I didn't like that. What my mind didn't even go there, but oh, I love some corned beef, man. My husband's a former professional chef, as you know, and, he does this corned beef, and we're totally off off the topic for a second, but he does this chopped cabbage with butter that is I didn't like corned beef and cabbage until he made me that, and I was like now every year around, St. Patrick's Day, I'm like, "So you got the cabbage? Are we," and he slow cooks the, corned beef, so it's but wow, now I really want to come to DC and have you make me jollof.
Yes.
Okay. What books are on your nightstand?
Well, I read the Bible daily, even if it's just a verse. So it's actually on my iPhone, but sort of my nightstand. And then your book, the Meerbott's Fables, I appreciated that and just going through and reading the stories that resonate with me for different moments in my life. And also, I like that I could color in, some of the pages.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry. So what's your favorite fable?
Well, I think it's the one with the mouse. Yeah.
Midas the Mouse.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. I'm
Yep.
so
Yep.
glad,
Yep.
like, you love that one because everybody asks me what my favorite one is, and I'm like, that would be like me picking a favorite child, like, I can't, but I love that it resonates with you, and, the way I structured it was read the fables, answer the questions, and then kind of meditate on the awarenesses that the fable brought you, and, Tracy sent me a picture of her with her feet up reading the fables, and I just again, that's why I wrote it. I wrote it as a love letter to all of you and everything that I've learned from my clients over 15 years, hundreds of clients, thousands of hours. So thank you. Thank you for that.
I I appreciate you writing it and reminding me that it's okay to pause and take time for myself. It's we do a lot of go, 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 and we don't remember that it's okay to recharge and reset and just think through, am I on the right path?
Yeah. Yeah. And I've had a couple, like on my birthday this year, in April, one of the things I kept telling myself, I was like, where are your feet? Be where your feet are. Don't be in the future. Don't be at where are your feet? Like, what are you missing because you're either rushing through or autopiloting your way through. So I love that. That's such a great awareness. Okay, so what songs are on your playlist?
Good. Anything, anything that Usher sings? No. I'm planning to go see him in the fall. So I'm so happy that he's doing a
Yeah, and
tour.
I have to throw this out there. So Tracy got to see Beyonce twice, right?
Yes.
The Renaissance
My
tour.
one of my best friends, Tracy Lloyd, got myself and another best friend, Kim Allen, tickets to go see Beyonce in concert when we visited her in Atlanta, and it was amazing.
I'll tell you that is a great regret of my life is missing the Renaissance tour. Everybody I've talked to, so I mean, my sister-in-law Sonia saw it and she's like, you don't understand. I haven't even gotten to see the movie. I'm like, Beyonce, put it on a streaming platform, please. Because I just, I want to pretend I was there. I mean, Homecoming was such a breathtaking production. So please put it out, Queen Bey. Please, please, please. So, okay, what are you grateful for in this moment right now?
I'm grateful for life. As you know, I lost my dad last year, and um, going through that experience makes me appreciate even more just having every day to, do something that'll lead me to where God wants me to be. I get to see my son every day and see the amazing young man he's growing up to be. So I'm very grateful for him. I'm just grateful for life. Nothing is guaranteed.
No, no. And life can change with every breath we take. So, Tracy, thank you. Again, like you just inspire me, just by being who you are. So, thank you for being you. And thank you to our audience for listening. It's our intention on Hidden Human to inspire you to go out and have authentic conversations to deepen your connections in your life. Thank you so much and make it a great day.